It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Dick Barr Group at Village Realty, offering both residential and commercial real estate services across northeastern Illinois. Find us at our office located at 1915 East Grand Avenue in Lindenhurst, or visit us online at www.dickbarr.com. For a personal real estate experience, they can also be reached at 847-579-9736. At the Dick Barr Group, your property goals are their mission.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County.
Unlocking Lake County.
With Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder & Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder & Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder & Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinka team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinka team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County.
Unlocking Lake County.
With Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Dick Barr Group at Village Realty, offering both residential and commercial real estate services across northeastern Illinois. Find us at our office located at 1915 East Grand Avenue in Lindenhurst, or visit us online at www.dickbarr.com. For a personal real estate experience, they can also be reached at 847-579-9736. At the Dick Barr Group, your property goals are their mission.
This is Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Your favorite show right here on 98.3 FM.
98.3 The Life.
And welcome, Northwest Lake County. This is your host, Dick Barr, here with another episode of Unlocking Lake County with my beautiful co-host, Kristen Kaufman. Say hello.
Hello, hello, everybody.
And back in the studio this week, we have the great Sly Marinka. Say hi, Sly.
Hello, everybody.
Okay. So I'm glad we got that opening theme song because there's always so much going on here in the corner to make sure it goes happen. I'm just going to go live on our YouTube stream for the radio station. That's 98.3 The Life FM on YouTube. You can find this show live on YouTube, live on 98.3 FM, and live on live stream on Facebook on my personal page and our business page. Okay, so another crazy busy week. We thought things were going to start slowing down. But they're going nuts. What's happening?
It's been crazy. Honestly, I attempted to give myself the day off on Monday to spend time with my kids. I ended up working from 10 a.m. until midnight.
Wow.
Yeah. Outside of just basic mom care tasks, I was just work. And it's a good problem to have. I'm not complaining, but it has been crazy.
10 a.m. to midnight, so you're working part-time, huh?
Yeah.
How about Sly? You were telling us about some crazy late-night phone calls you're getting.
Absolutely. It's been really, really, really busy the last couple of weeks. It seems like the floodgates have opened and, buyers are getting their offers accepted more. I don't know if that's a product of more listings. We'll see in the market minute here. But, it's definitely picked up.
Yeah, when you're going to be surprised, this market minute, the inventory is climbing.
More to choose from. Yeah. So I think some of these buyers that have had a hard time getting their offers accepted, I'm going to talk about that again, actually, and just really encourage people. If you were one of those people that, put in, 10 offers on houses and got beat out by cash or whatever, it's time to go. Yeah. I'm seeing, FHA's getting accepted, VA's getting accepted. It is what it is. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
we just had a few this weekend go. We saw a VA acceptance. We saw an FHA acceptance. Yeah. And then, get this, we had a finance offer beat out a cash offer.
Hey, if the financing is strong, why not?
And that's kind
smart
of
seller, probably.
That back in the day, you'd say, well, you just never know what's going to happen to the loan, But right now, it's pretty much once that loan gets started, as long as it was properly underwritten to begin with the the automated underwriting, there's really very little that can go wrong in that, unless a really crazy appraisal comes in. But these were numbers that made sense within the appraisal because we're not seeing those crazy $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 over asking offers coming in anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
At least not on. Well, I got to be careful on premium product. Yes.
Yeah.
If everybody wants it, yes. 30, 40, 50, maybe even 80,000 over asking.
Yeah.
But on the stuff that's just kind of middle of the road, nice homes, and decent, move-in condition, nothing terribly wrong, but nothing terribly, knock your socks off great. We're not seeing the crazy wars in the trenches anymore.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you had an open house this weekend, didn't you, Kristen?
I did.
Yeah, what was the turnout like?
It was comparable to most of the open houses that I've done over the year, to be honest with you. I didn't notice like a crazy influx of people. It wasn't super slow. It was pretty much exactly what I expected, even compared to busier parts of the season earlier in the spring. I feel like I've only ever really seen so much of a turnout with open houses, but that's okay. You only need one buyer.
Yeah, that's true. And, there's that myth we kind of address periodically on this show. Mm-hmm. How many homes are really sold at the open house? Nationally, the data shows only about 2% of homes get sold on the open house, but it's a good opportunity for exposure.
Yeah.
So even if there's not a direct sale, hey, maybe Aunt Gertrude's driving around, sees a house, And yeah, she's not going to buy it, but she knows cousin Willie is looking. Hey, Willie, talk to your agent. I just saw a house you're going to love.
Exactly.
So there is that, exposure to the market. So more eyes, more feet, more money.
Well, and you never know which approach is going to be the one that reaches the right buyer.
I do.
Right.
I always know which one.
You have that
kidding.
gift.
They call me Nostradicus.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I've heard it all the time. They say it a lot.
I just made it up. I'm in a weird energy this morning. No, that's fine.
That's
Go ahead.
all right. I will say, I
shy
feel like
of
I'm just
counting.
seeing a little bit of everything right now.
Yeah.
There's a listing that we're working on that we had, it was like 35 showings on over the weekend, where it was just, my phone was nonstop blowing up over this one property.
Yep.
And then there's another property that I'm working on that had very little activity. And honestly, there weren't a lot of discernible differences between those two properties. I mean, there wasn't a huge difference in price. They're different locations, but neither one, I think, is more like widely
No standout,
sought
one more
after.
better than the other.
Yeah, and the marketing approach was the same. It was coming from the same office. It's just, so we're seeing a little bit of everything right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was you, Sly, that predicted this. You said, I think we're going to see a powerhouse summer.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing right now.
Right. As we'll talk about, rates starting to trickle down a little bit again. I mean, I know we keep teeter-tottering. 1 week it's up, the next week it's down. We'll talk about it in the mortgage update. But, this is becoming normal, right? Like, people know that, rates may never get to 3%. So, I think we're starting to see a little bit of that, where all those people that were like, we're going to wait for the rates to go down. Well, what if they don't go down as far as we think they will? We've talked about that quite a bit, but yeah, it's gangbusters right now. Yep. So
That's
great time.
exactly the conversation I was having with someone earlier today, actually, where this person, they work in the same field as us, and they were talking about how they like to refer to these rates as like temporary. And I had said, I don't really like doing that anymore right now, to be honest with you. My approach really is more so to talk about, like, what if they don't? What if this is our norm and you wait the next 3 years and nothing changes? That's 3 years of equity you lost out on. That's 3 years of making your home your own. That's 3 years of not having to deal with rent. That's
throwing away rent. Yeah.
It's 3 years of certainty that you're missing out on, hoping that it goes down. And what if it never does? And if it does, great, you can refinance,
Absolutely. Yeah, and I have a friend that's really in a pickle right now. His landlord, he's been renting for years at the same place, wonderful tenants, awesome landlord, but she just told him that she recently came down with cancer, and she needs him out in 60 days so that her daughter can move closer to her, stay in the home. And so they are scrambling to find a single-family home. They have kids. They have dogs.
Yeah.
There's nothing out there.
Yeah, it's
It
tough.
is so brutal right now. So he's really trying to figure out what the heck to do. But yeah, I mean, if you own your own home, you don't have to worry about that, or you don't have to worry about a landlord saying, "Hey, I know I could get $1,800 for my rent, and you're only paying $1,500. You either got to pay more or get out."
Yeah.
So yeah, just something that you don't even think about that could happen, but it kind of happens a lot. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Well, this is a perfect segue into leading us into finding out, what's really happening in our market in Northwest Lake County. So here we go.
Stay on top of the market with Dick Barr's Market Minute.
Dick Barr's Market Minute.
Okay, welcome back for another installment of Dick Barr's Market Minute here on Unlocking Lake County on 98.3 The Life FM, downtown Round Lake Beach. Let's start with Northwest Lake County, where we're sitting on 186 active properties. That's a big jump. That's a jump of about 18% over last week.
Wow.
38 new listings this week, which is dropped from last week where there were 61. So we have a climbing inventory with less new homes on the market. So you know what that means. Homes are starting to sit longer. 47 homes went under contract this past week, down from 56 the prior week. 173 homes have gone under contract this month compared to the 117 last month. Days on the market average for the area, still pretty decent, 21 days on market with a 0.8 month supply of inventory. That's ticking up. That was about 0.3 just a couple of weeks ago. Lowest price home sold, $58,000 with a high price sold of $1.2 million. Highest property still on the market is $4.9 million, but the median for the area is $54,000. Now on over to Antioch, the farthest northwest corner of Lake County, where 39 homes are sitting active on the market. They regained the top spot this week.
Wow.
4 new listings this week. Huge drop from last week where there was 10. 6 properties under contract the past week, slightly down from 7 the prior. 35 homes have gone under contract in the past 30 days, double the prior 30 where there was 18. 23 days on market is the market average with a 1.1 month supply of inventory. Lowest price home sold was $150,000 with a $1.19 million high. $2.5 million is the highest active property, and a $385,000 median price sold. Now on over to Volo, Fox Lake in Ingleside, where they're sitting on 29 active properties on the market. Only 3 new listings this week compared to 6 the prior. 2 properties under contract this week, same as the prior week where there was 2. 12 homes have gone under contract in the past 30 days. That's the lowest in the area, slightly up from the prior 30 days where there was only 10. 30 days on market is the average. That's the highest market time average in the area. But sitting on almost a 2-month supply of inventory. That is the highest in the area. Wow. $155,000 was the low price. $830 was the high. $1.7 million is the highest active, and $347,000 is the median sales price. Now on over to Grace Lake, Gages Lake, Haynesville, Third Lake, and Wildwood, where 34 homes are sitting on the market. 7 new listings this week. They dropped from 11 the prior. 15 homes have gone under contract in the past 7 days, about 50% increase from last week. In the past 30 days, 28 homes have gone under contract, and that is about 10 more than last 30 days. And 20 days on market is the average market time with a 0.7 month supply of inventory. Lowest price home sold in the Grace Lake area is $199,000 with a $594,000 high. We have a $977,000 is the highest active price, but the median sales price is $327,000. Now on over to Gurney, Wadsworth, Old Mill Creek, where they're sitting on 35 active homes right now. 9 new listings this week, about the same as last week. 11 homes under contract the past 7 days, slightly down from the 16 the prior. 28 homes under contract in the past 30 days. About double the prior week, where there was prior month, where there was 15. Days on market average in the Gurney area is 22 days with a 0.6 month supply of inventory. Lowest home sold, $238,000 with a high of $1.2 million, and highest active in the Gurney market, $4.9 million. Median price in the Gurney area, $428,250. Now and over to our backyard of Lindenhurst and Lake Villa, where we are sitting on 31 active properties right now. 9 new listings this week compared to 15 the prior week. 11 homes have gone under contract in the past 7 days, slightly down from the 13 in the prior. And 28 homes have gone under contract in the past 30 days, slight bump up from the 24 the prior 30 days. And days on market average, still very reasonable at 19 days with a 0.7 month supply of inventory. Lowest home sold, $110,000 with a high of $1.07 million. $4.5 million is the highest active, and $377,000 is the median sales price. Now to finish it up with the Round Lake area, where they're sitting on 18 active properties, that's the lowest inventory in the area. 6 new listings this week compared to 8 the prior. Only 2 homes have gone under contract in the past 7 days in 60073, and that's slightly down from, that's significantly down from the 8 the prior week. 36 homes have gone under contract in the past 30 days. That's the highest in the area, and that's up from 26 in the prior month. Days on market average is a mere 2 weeks and a half a month supply of inventory. That's the lowest month supply of inventory in the entire region. Lowest home sold, $58,000. Highest, $645,000. And the highest active, just under $500,000 with a $300,000 median price tag. Any surprises?
Surprises, no, but I do find it really interesting just listening to you talk about the lowest and the highest properties. I mean, I think the lowest number I heard there was 44,000, and the highest number I heard was $4.5 million.
Yeah, that's a big jump.
It's so interesting that in our area there really is something for everybody, an opportunity for everyone, as long as you're looking in the right spot. I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. You know, we talk a lot about, affordable housing and ways that we could do it. The best way we can add affordable housing is to develop more residential property. When we have inventory, prices drop. But due to a lot of different barriers, government barriers, costs to, impact fees, permit fees, all these things that get tacked on, and now the state adding all kinds of requirements, homes now have to have EV car chargers put into their garages, and and so on and so forth. And there's new sprinkler requirements in the county. All these things add up to more costs. More costs means less development. Less development means less housing available. Less housing available means higher prices. But we're really lucky here in the northwest corner of the county, because we not only do we have, just like you pointed out, the expensive stock, we also have the affordable stock, but the areas are so nice.
Yeah.
It's like you come here, it's beautiful neighborhoods, beautiful retail areas, great shopping. I think my Google was listening to me. I don't know how
see? They're always listening.
Oh, he's being critical right now.
Yep.
Listen in.
Yep.
Shut up, whatever you are. It's not, I think it's the okay. I'm not going to say, because it'll trigger other people's phones.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it is cool, though. I mean, you go into different neighborhoods, especially like around the lake. You go into Fox Lake, and in those neighborhoods, you'll see some of those properties from the lows and the highs, like the affordable and the luxury, next to each other.
All
Yeah.
in one
They're
neighborhood.
getting
yeah.
the same neighborhood amenities as each other.
Partying
Right.
at the same barbecues usually.
Exactly. Going to the same chain, having,
Yeah.
exactly. It's so cool.
That reminds me, and we really have to do it. Kristen, you talked about wanting to do a lakefront episode.
I have many times.
We got to do it.
I think it's so relevant to our area.
Ball's in your court.
You got it.
Produce it. Put together a show. Get some maybe lake landowners, people who want to live on the lake but don't, and maybe they live on channels, or maybe they live in communities where they have lake rights and get to use docks. Let's bring them all in. Let's have a great conversation
I'm on
about
it.
how they do it. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Okay, speaking of high costs, were you going to say something, Sly?
No, that sounds like a fun episode.
Yeah. Speaking of high costs, we were going to do our spotlight today about property taxes, and I talk about them so much because I hate them so much.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna pivot and shift in this episode, because we just experienced something on a closing we had yesterday for a listing client of ours, and this is important information. Everyone kind of really needs to hear this and needs to know, because the potential for downside is huge and expensive. There's no objective standard for how to leave your house, what condition to leave your house in when you sell it and leave it. Now, the literal definition is broom swept condition. But, okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Kristen, what does broom swept condition mean to you and to your clients? What do you envision when you hear that?
Typically what I explain and what I envision when I hear broom swept condition is you're not leaving anything on the floor. You're not leaving any of your items behind that haven't already been previously agreed upon. And you're just literally going through with a broom. Like literally you're sweeping the floor. You're making sure you're not leaving a bunch of crap behind, and you're just making it not horrible for the next person to walk in.
Okay, are you getting on your hands and knees? Are you scrubbing them floors?
Am I personally? No.
No. What's your advice to your clients?
I mean, my advice to my clients is just make sure, kind of a loose term, you're not wrong. I'm usually just saying make sure you're leaving it in decent condition, sweep the floor, don't leave a bunch of stuff behind. I personally, when I sold my house, ended up hiring a cleaning service to just clean up behind me so that it was left really nice.
Yeah.
I wasn't working in real estate at the time. I just thought that would be a nice thing to do. And honestly, I just didn't really feel like doing it. I had a tiny little newborn baby with me. I'm like, I'm not coming back here to clean. But yeah, I mean, it's not so tedious, and making sure that you're, scrubbing the blinds and on the floor with a toothbrush, making sure all the details are done. But you're leaving it decent.
Now, Sly, you're tangentially involved in real estate
Yeah.
because you're a mortgage guy, but you're not directly on the ground level with the buying and selling side. What's your opinion of broom swept condition? What does it mean?
So, similar to what Kristen said, basically, no stuff on the ground. Broom swept means the floors are cleaned. There's not junk, garbage in the house left, nothing behind. So, like when we sold our house in 2015, I did the same thing. We hired a cleaning crew to come in and listen, I wanted, we were buying a short sale where they were a divorce situation, the house we were moving into, and it wasn't left that way. Probably because, financially they couldn't afford a cleaning crew or whatever, and they left a lot of junk, and it was a headache for me. Now, we went through with it, but we probably could have raised a stink at the closing and said, hey, you still got a bunch of crap in the basement. You still have, 3 old satellite dishes under the deck that now I have to get rid of. So I treat others as I would want to be treated. So if I'm leaving a property, I would clean it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so I don't usually recommend the cleaning of it, but
Okay.
obviously the broom swept. Yeah, personal property. broom swept, and that's like you said, get rid of all your small appliances, make sure all your dishes are out, your silverware's out, all that stuff. Preferably, all of the garbage will have already been delivered and picked up by Waste Management, but sometimes it's not possible. If you're
Right.
moving
Yeah,
on a Monday,
depends on the
and
day, yeah.
your pickup's Wednesday, and that's typically acceptable. Under certain circumstances, typically acceptable, even though some buyer could make a stink about it, and you might have an obligation to order a special pickup. But that doesn't usually happen. But our experience is minor discrepancy on broom swept is forgivable and forgiven. Just like you said, Sly, you were in a situation, it wasn't best, but you're like, we can deal with it. Right. But the more stuff left behind, now the buyer's starting to get angry, right? Because they're like, I'm just about to spend a lot of money on a house that I want to start moving in 10 seconds after I get that key. But now there's an obstacle in the way. That can't happen anymore. So the more they find, now it starts getting dangerous, and now it starts getting expensive for the seller, because a buyer can easily overlook some simple stuff. But when they start tallying it on, now they start looking for stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the more they look, the more they find. And the more they find, the more expensive it can get. We were just in a situation where my sellers were trying to get out. They were very stressed out. They didn't have a lot of time to get out. They both work. They have kids. They have busy schedules. But they were rushing. They were just trying to, get it out on time. And they left some stuff behind. And it was... when I first got the text from the buyer's agent doing the walkthrough, it was like, oh, they left this there. I'm like, okay, well, fine, we'll deal with that. But then like 2 minutes later, they left this there. And then the third thing was like, oh, here they left this there. After the fifth one, I'm like, why don't you just wait? Figure out, tally up everything that's wrong, and then we'll address it at the end. At the end, she had 26 photos she sent me of items left behind, and I felt terrible for my seller because I knew it wasn't going to be good. There was a combination of things that inadvertently left in closets that they had never been in years, and things left under cabinets, some furniture that were like kind of closet organization systems that technically weren't attached. They weren't in the best shape, but they left behind because the sellers were thinking, well, the buyers might want these, and thing. But the reality is it's not attached. Buyer has no obligation to do it. But here's where it went bad. They tallied so many things that they started finding things they didn't really have a right to go after, and things that existed prior to the contract.
Like what?
Specifically, I don't want to get into specifics, but they found something that what turns out was wrong, and would have showed up on the inspection, but the inspector never called it out. So they lost their opportunity to address it.
Yeah.
But now they have this situation where they're looking for mistakes.
Sorry.
And they found this, and now they have the leverage because technically at this point, because the house is not delivered and broom swept, that's a breach of contract.
Yeah.
Technically, you could void or cancel. I'm not sure the legal side of that. But there's an effect to say we don't have to close. And now they have all the leverage, and they were able to get the sellers to budge on the issue that should have come up in inspection, and they didn't raise an inspection. So sellers unfortunately wound up costing the seller quite a bit of money in that situation.
Wow.
So important to, and I know you can't always take your time in this market because you don't always have the time.
Yeah.
But do your best. You'll be grateful that you did. Take your time. Always do final walkthroughs to make sure that you've got everything, because you might be leaving behind family heirlooms, photos, irreplaceable things that will get thrown out if it's left behind.
And by all means, invite your realtor in.
Yeah.
Invite us in. If you're not sure that it's being left in a condition that it has already been mutually agreed upon, invite us in and have us give you our opinion.
And sometimes that's not feasible because they're getting out the last day, right? But yeah, we should be showing up and saying, okay, no, come on, get that out of here, type of thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So
have you ever gone behind, cleaned up after a seller to make sure that it's?
Yeah.
I have too. Yeah, I swept up at my last closing because it was not ready to close that day. I was sweeping up.
I had a situation where my seller, this was 10 years ago, my seller insisted he was not going to remove the couch from the basement because it didn't fit anymore, because after the couch was there before the basement was finished.
Oh, my gosh.
And it no longer fit. He goes, I'm not taking it out of there. I'm like, you have to. I'm not taking it out. I'm like, okay. So I showed up with my Sawzall.
Oh, my gosh.
And I literally cut the couch into 3 sections and dragged it up piece by piece.
That's so funny. I didn't even end up telling the sellers that I swept. I just did it and didn't say anything and just let it all go smoothly.
Well, I had a client that purchased a home where a seller passed away, and the estate, didn't want to do anything. They're like, we're leaving everything. You have to take it all.
As is where is.
Yeah.
And so he was aware of that, but he went in there and he found tens of thousands of dollars of collectible video games, comic books, all kinds of cool stuff that had the family gone in there and even just peeked around. Because he said, get whatever you want out. But once we close, like, that's it. Like, there's no more coming back and saying, oh, I want that box of, comic books. And literally tens of thousands of dollars worth of memorabilia and comic books and video games and computer games. And he's showing me on eBay. He's like, he's bringing stuff to me, and he's showing me on eBay. He's like, can you believe this? It was an original, Pac-Man video game or whatever for a computer. But because it was in the original packaging and never opened, I mean, it was worth like couple $100.
Sure, yeah.
So beware.
Dick, have you ever seen a buyer walk because of the lack of cleanliness?
Yep.
Yeah? Wow.
Yep.
That's unfortunate. Imagine.
How
avoidable.
And that was, if you think back to the time when we were recovering first from the mortgage collapse, 2010 to like 2014, deals were precarious. The slightest thing could set them apart, set them off, because the buyers had all the leverage.
Yeah.
And when the buyer has the leverage, the buyer can do whatever he wants, and the seller's really got to kind of come around to that. It's like, what do they say? You can have 2 of these 3 things, but you can't have 3, the type of thing. So you could have the best price, the best terms, the best deal, or the most convenience, but you can't have all 4 of them at the same time.
Right.
There's the sacrifice of something, and when it comes down to those things, I am aware of a situation. You're gonna love this. There is, you guys know this, on the contract, when there's a personal property section, paragraph, where the buyer checks off all the personal property that they want. On these things is usually fridge, dishwasher, washing machine, dryer machine, sump pump, furnace, air conditioning. But it also mentions hardscape and landscape.
Yep.
Right? Planted vegetation. Right? So there was a contentious situation between a seller and a buyer, and they wound up really ticking each other off. And before closing, the buyer goes to do the walkthrough, and there's no grass.
What?
The seller had cut up the lawn and rolled it into sod, and the buyer argued, no, that's part of the real estate.
Yeah.
Planted vegetation was not checked off on the contract.
Oh my God.
Oops.
Wow.
I mean, you assumed that would just stay, but I could see, wow.
Oh my goodness.
Could you imagine?
I can.
Did you slide this is probably, you're Gen X, so do you remember the Richard Pryor movie Moving? I think it was called Moving.
I don't think I saw that one.
Okay, it was a hilarious scene when Richard Pryor and his family, they're looking at this house, and they see this house, and there was the guy who's owned the house showing it to him, and he was being like kind of sarcastic and weird throughout the showing. He like, hey, you see that? You see that window? You like that window? And Richard Pryor's like, yeah, I like that window. And the guy would say, hey, it's not included. And then he would laugh, ha, 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 and he go, you like those stairs? Yeah, I love those stairs. It's not included. And then sure enough, on moving day, he goes in, the stairs are gone, the windows are gone, there's no floors.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. It's funny from the lending side, because I'm on the finance side of it, and my job is to get the loan done, get it clear to close, get the package there. So I'm very, I'm not involved in that part of it, but it's always the same thing where, I know it's closing day and all of a sudden I get a call and it's like, hey, would it be okay if we had a $1,500 closing cost credit to the deal? And it's like, well, yeah, just, send over the paperwork. We'll update our system. But that's how, I know that something happened at the inspection or
the final walkthrough.
Yeah, the final walkthrough. Yeah, it's like that's how they tell me normally, or they, sneak it into the prorations or whatever.
Right.
But,
Exactly.
that's always how, we get the... Because they don't want to tell us, there's something wrong. I mean, I've had clients that have gone to their final walkthrough and the basement is full of water, and obviously you're not closing that day. They have to fix that. But smaller issues like garbage left behind, a hole in the wall from the movers or whatever. Yeah. That's how we find out normally is. Yeah. Do you mind if we throw in a closing cost credit last minute? Yeah, sure. No problem.
When I bought my very first home, and it was a townhouse, we were doing our final walkthrough. Everything looked good. We did not think to check the balcony. And after we had a relatively new agent at the time, so I mean they didn't suggest looking either, and it was fine, whatever. But then we went to go move in, and we opened the blinds to step out onto the balcony, just be like, here's our place, and it had, every inch of the balcony was filled with dead plants, and like big heavy pots, like dead plants, just all over the place, and I'm like. Yeah. What do we do about it? I guess we don't do anything about it. This is ours now.
Right.
After closing.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. That's exactly what it was.
The walkthrough is your chance to object. Now, that's another big point. I'm surprised how many agents schedule their walkthroughs 1 or 2 or 3 days before closing. I've never done that. And I kind of learned that from an early age. My dad, I remember when we sold our house, I was 10. The rest of my family went to the new house, and my dad spent the night in the house, and I stayed back with him, and we spent the night sleeping on the floor with pillows and a blanket, and he told me, because you don't know what's going to happen. We own this house until tomorrow, so we're going to make sure that everything's good and nothing's going to screw it up. So because of that, I kind of learned you do the walkthrough in the morning of, because anything can happen from last night to tonight, and then like a lot of times, because we use obviously lock boxes. Agents will say, can I take the keys from the lockbox to closing? Well, sure, if you look at it the day of, but not if you look at the day before, because what if I need to get in there?
Right.
That happened last year. I don't remember if you were with me yet or not. We had a situation. It was February. No, it was last February.
Okay, I wasn't then.
Yep. And the sellers moved out, and we lost power in the neighborhood.
I saw this on Facebook,
February, right? And I'm like, oh, no. The sump pump, and I wound up going out there and manually pumping this sump pump, getting it to work, desperately trying to find a generator.
Didn't you power it with your car or something? Or you attempted to? Yeah.
I
was watching your Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Yep, you Facebook Lived it. And so fun fact, why would you have ever known this? So I was watching it on the Facebook Live, and that was actually one of the deciding factors that led me to wanting to work with you, because of how committed you were to doing stuff for your clients. And I'm like, that's exactly the product I want to be putting out there. I want to be there for my clients 110%. That's what he does. That was actually one of the deciding factors that led me to you. Fun fact, actually.
Great story.
Yeah, 100% true. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's so funny. But I remember it and being like, oh my God, he's using his car to power this right now. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Genius, though.
I was out till 4 a.m. I finally got a hold of a generator, and we were able to get the generator plugged into the sump pump, so it started kicking out. But because it was February, the pipe froze, so it couldn't push it out.
Yeah, and it was freezing rain outside.
Wow, crazy. We'll be back.
Save the day
right after this.
Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr will return in just a few moments after these important messages. Don't
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder and Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder and Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder and Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinka team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinka team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County
Unlocking Lake County.
with Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Dick Barr Group at Village Realty, offering both residential and commercial real estate services across northeastern Illinois. Find us at our office located at 1915 East Grand Avenue in Lindenhurst, or visit us online at www.dickbarr.com. For a personal real estate experience, they can also be reached at 847-579-9736. At the Dick Barr Group, your property goals are their mission.
This is Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Your favorite show right here on 98.3 FM.
98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder and Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder and Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder and Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder and Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder and Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder and Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinka team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinka team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Dick Barr Group at Village Realty, offering both residential and commercial real estate services across northeastern Illinois. Find us at our office located at 1915 East Grand Avenue in Lindenhurst, or visit us online at www.dickbarr.com. For a personal real estate experience, they can also be reached at 847-579-9736. The Dick Barr Group, your property goals are their mission.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County
Unlocking Lake County.
with Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder and Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder and Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder and Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinka team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinka team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County
Unlocking Lake County.
with Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Dick Barr Group.
Welcome back to Unlocking Lake County with your host, Dick Barr.
Welcome back, Lake County. This is Dick Barr, your host of Unlocking Lake County, here with the lovely Kristen Kaufman. Say hello.
Hi, friends. Welcome back.
And Sly Marinka.
Hello, everybody.
And guest in the studio, we've got Guro Marc Halleck in the studio today.
Hello, everyone.
And at the 1 o'clock hour, we're going to have a nice in-depth interview with Mark. Mark's an expert martial artist and trains in a martial art that I haven't heard of. I'm not familiar with. So we're going to learn all about it in self-defense and how to keep yourself safe and how to keep your community safe too. And one of the coolest things he told me before the show is it's not about hurting anyone. It's about avoiding conflict. That's the number one thing that he's going to talk about. So looking forward to that. But before we get there, we've got a little bit of a show to get going. And as you know, every week we have Sly Marinka, so nice to join us here. And he's going to talk about what's going on in today's mortgage world. So give it over to Sly.
Here is the Mortgage Minute with Sly Marinka and Cross Country Mortgage on Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our show. So this week, we're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen tomorrow and Friday. There are some big news numbers coming out in the next 2 days. Tomorrow is the Consumer Price Index number that will be released. And on Friday will be the Producer Price Index number, so CPI and PPI, and those are the government. Those are the government's gauge on inflation. So 2 out of the last 3 months, the numbers came in a little bit lower than was anticipated. And so we've started to see a little bit of a rally in the bond markets, bringing mortgage rates down just a little bit. So the current national average for the 30-year fixed mortgage is 6.99%, so just under that 7% mark.
Nice.
Last week we were at 7.13%. The current 10-year Treasury yield is at 4.29. Last week we were in the 4.50. So rates have come down a touch, a small amount, not that meaningful, like crazy amount that we're looking for. But I do think that if there are big misses in the CPI number and the PPI number coming out in the next couple days, that's going to really start to move things in the right directions rate-wise. So we'll have to keep an eye on that tomorrow. If inflation is cooling, that's going to give the Fed that much more ammo to say, all right, now we could start looking at lowering rates, which they haven't said yet. They keep saying we're waiting for for inflation to cool more, and these are the numbers that tell us that.
Sly,
yeah.
Where's the smart money betting right now?
One day it's one way, one day it's the other.
Okay.
They did so it is expected. Futures are looking that the Fed is going to cut rates, but remember, we've been here before. In December, they were expected to cut rates 6 times this year, starting in March.
And now we're at 0 of 6 still.
0 of 6 in July.
Yeah.
So, we're down to 2 rate cuts for this year is kind of what the bet is. But if these numbers come in bad tomorrow, let's say the inflation for June comes in higher, all bets are off. We're starting at ground zero again, and we'll see rates. We'll see rates trickle back up a little bit.
So is this information sitting in this super secret confidential envelope already, and they know it, like in trading places where they're sitting on the Orange Grove commodity
I think
supply?
So. I mean, I think
and they're just
so.
waiting to release it, right? So
Yeah.
they know it.
Yeah.
But they're waiting for us plebeians to find out when they want us to know.
Correct. It's a set schedule of release dates, and tomorrow's, like I said, the CPI, and then on Friday's the PPI. So it's a set. We don't know what those numbers look like. There have been surprises. Now, lately, they've come in for some reason a little bit lower than was anticipated, which has caused rates to come down a little bit. So I don't know if that has to do with the election cycle. If I don't know. There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there that these numbers are manipulated, and it's hard not to believe it sometimes.
When they have the receipts showing that what was the jobs numbers were reduced by almost a million count in the past year.
Insane. Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
so all these numbers that come out where they sell the headlines and jobs are so great, and then the next month they revise the previous month down by 80%.
Right. Oh, we had 250,000 new jobs this month.
Right.
Last month we're adjusting down 400 million.
Right. And I don't know if you guys have seen the trend on social media lately about the reorder on the Walmart app. You guys see that yet?
No.
So like the Walmart app, if you're buying like your groceries and things from Walmart on the app, you can go back in your history and hit the reorder button, and it'll reorder all of the items and it goes back 4 years. So I've seen people on TikTok where they'll go and, all right, I bought this order. Here's my order in 2020. And it was $126. I hit reorder, and it's like people are like 3 or 4 times what they were.
God, I believe it.
So all these inflation numbers that is inflation really 3%? Yeah, probably not, right? But so that's why there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there about what's going on with it. And
but that's a problem with inflation. Inflation sticks.
It does.
So even if it comes down, prices don't come down. You only get prices coming down if you have deflation.
Which that's going to
take.
That's going to take a horrible economy, which nobody wants.
Yeah,
nobody,
we're not hoping for that.
No, absolutely not. So
yeah, it's one of those catch-22 double-edged swords.
Yep.
I have a question for you, just so that we can set the correct expectation for our listeners, right? So let's say the numbers come in at a certain way and the rates do drop significantly.
Yep.
I don't want our listeners hearing that and thinking, cool, we're going to get our 2 to 3%.
Yeah.
What does a realistic significant drop in rate look like today?
Yeah, I mean, so, the 2 and 3%, that was a once in a lifetime thing. I've been doing this, possibly. I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, but, the 21 years I've been originating loans, 22 years now. Oh my goodness, 22. We've never seen anything like that. A meaningful drop in rates in normal times is 50 basis points. 100 is crazy. So if it goes from 7 till 6 in a 30-day window, that's a big drop in rates.
Okay. So right now you said the average is 699. So if we woke up and it all of a sudden was 599, that's crazy.
That
that's
doesn't
significant.
happen.
That means if that happens, you immediately go get a loan and you build a fallout shelter in your basement. That means the nukes are coming.
Very rare it goes. So it'll like what we'll probably see is let's say inflation comes in lower than it's expected. The bond market will rally and we'll maybe see, an eighth of a point, a quarter of a point better in rates. So hopefully next week, by the time I'm here, the national average is 6.82 or whatever. Okay. And then it kind of slowly starts to trickle down as the news keeps being digested, right? Because if inflation all of a sudden next month rears its ugly head again and the number goes crazy, guess what? Rates are going to tick back up. It doesn't happen as fast as some think it will.
Right.
Now there are
how significant a small point of a number can be.
Yeah. Right. I mean, and you're thinking like whole economy, everybody. Right. You're talking trillions of dollars. Being affected here. So it typically doesn't move that quick. Now, can it? Yeah, absolutely. If something catastrophic happens, and like when COVID hit, like I remember, like within a week period, the rates dropped 1.5 points, wow. and then 3 weeks later they dropped another point. I mean, it was but that was COVID, right? Yeah. So, unless something like that happens again, it typically doesn't move as quickly as that. So,
and another important point that you can confirm for me, Sly, is that typically the mortgage rates are already predicting what's going to happen tomorrow.
Correct.
And any changes won't necessarily change mortgage rates. Only what the smart people will predict will happen 6 months from now is what will change mortgage rates today.
Absolutely. So, when the Fed cuts the rates, they're not cutting mortgage rates. They're cutting the overnight money rate that banks borrow from each other at, or from the Fed at, I should say. And then they're, the prime rate, which is what your home equity line, your credit cards are tied to. That's the rates that they affect. However, in our world, the traders of these bonds and these mortgage-backed securities are looking forward, and they're saying, okay, if we're seeing inflation start to cool, and that's why we always really, really monitor what the Fed says, because one word could change what the perception is going forward. If all of a sudden the Fed says, rates or inflation is cooling, that leads you to believe that in our mind that they're probably going to cut the rates at some point here in the future, because that's what this whole time they've said they want inflation to be 2%. The closer we get to that, the more likely it becomes that they cut the rates.
Fantastic.
So we'll keep an eye on it. Next week, I hope to have a good report. We'll digest the CPI and PPI numbers that come out this week. And then the only other thing I really wanted to stress is the same thing I stressed last week. If you were one of those buyers that has gotten discouraged because your offer has gotten beat out by other offers, get back in the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Strike while the iron's hot right now. We already listened earlier. Dick mentioned increase in inventory. It's not as crazy as it was, and I think this could be a huge opportunity for those buyers that have not been able to get their offers accepted, whether you were FHA, VA, low down payment, conventional,
home sale
contingency. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have an offer out right now that's still being considered that's connected to a contingency.
And we have not seen that in the last couple of years. So now's the time. Don't hold on to that discouragement that you experienced maybe in 2023 or earlier this year.
Yeah.
When things were crazy. Now might be the perfect time for you to make that move, and especially if we see rates trickling down a tiny bit here, and that's a little bit of relief. But with that also, just because you were approved and pre-approved maybe last year, make sure you revisit that. Taxes and insurance. Those we literally today had to redo a loan because the insurance policy they got was way higher than what we had anticipated it to be. And we're usually we're good. We know we're not going to say it's $50 a month. We're
right.
$150, $200 a month is what I put in the system. And even that wasn't even close to being enough. And it was already a tight debt to income ratio. So the buyer ended up having to buy down their rate to get a lower rate to offset that difference. So talk to your lender, call your lender, make sure before you go out and start looking and putting in offers. Just because you were good to go last year doesn't mean you're good to go right now. Revisit that, make sure you're still good to go. But this could be a perfect opportunity for buyers that were discouraged last year and earlier this year.
I want to piggyback on that. Sorry, Kristen. Yeah. The one important thing, because of what you just said, reminded me. Too many times we see buyers come in with out-of-state lenders who assume our taxes are normal here, and they're not. So they're giving you these approvals saying you can afford a $500,000 house, but they're assuming your taxes are like Memphis taxes and they're $1,500. Mm-hmm. Big difference once you get a $12,000, $13,000 tax bill to what you can afford to buy. So working with local lenders is always a good idea, in my opinion. Go ahead, Kristen. What were you going to say?
Well, I just wanted to remind our listeners. So a couple weeks back, we were talking about what we had seen over the week when it came up to, I believe it was graduation weekend, where all of a sudden we were like, yeah, we noticed that there were some buyers that got their offers accepted. This week was a really good week for buyers, right? So with Sly saying that right now is an encouraged time to get out there, that doesn't mean that 3 weeks from now, if you wait around until you've got some free time, that will look the same. I mean, this stuff changes day to day, week to week, right? So if you're hearing that and you're in it right now, you're actively looking, I want you to take that seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, things change, weekly, like the numbers in the market minute. Dick, last week there was 61 new listings. This week there was 38, but the houses are sitting for longer. Like, how does that make any sense, right?
Right, yeah.
So it's important to get out there, to be ready, to be ready, right? So like getting pre-approved, having your agent put you on a search to where you know what's coming on the market, and just being ready to get that offer in, and now would be the time. So.
Absolutely. And on that, we will be right back.
Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr will return in just a few moments after these important messages. Don't touch that dial.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder & Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder & Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder & Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinka team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinka team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County.
Unlocking Lake County
with Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Dick Barr Group at Village Realty, offering both residential and commercial real estate services across northeastern Illinois. Find us at our office located at 1915 East Grand Avenue in Lindenhurst, or visit us online at www.dickbarr.com. For a personal real estate experience, they can also be reached at 847-579-9736. At the Dick Barr Group, your property goals are their mission.
This is Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Your favorite show right here on 98.3 FM.
98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder and Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder and Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder and Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder and Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder and Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder and Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinka team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinka team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Dick Barr Group at Village Realty, offering both residential and commercial real estate services across northeastern Illinois. Find us at our office located at 1915 East Grand Avenue in Lindenhurst, or visit us online at www.dickbarr.com. For a personal real estate experience, they can also be reached at 847-579-9736. At the Dick Barr Group, your property goals are their mission.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County
Unlocking Lake County
with Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder and Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder and Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder and Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinka team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinka team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County
Unlocking Lake County.
with Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Dick Barr Group at Village Realty, offering
Welcome back to Unlocking Lake County with your host, Dick Barr.
Welcome back, Lake County. This is Dick Barr, your host of Unlocking Lake County, here in beautiful Round Lake Beach with my beautiful co-host, Kristen Kaufman. Say hello.
Hello, hello.
And not so beautiful, Sly Marinka.
Hey, I'll take what I could get.
And our newest guest, Guro Marc Halleck.
Hello.
And as promised, we've got Mark in here to talk about some fascinating things about what he does. Mark's the kind of guy you walk down the street, you cross the street if you're up to no good. This guy is what are you? 6'2"?
No, 5'11".
You kidding me? Oh, geez, he appears all of 6'2".
Yeah.
His muscles from here to Thursday.
I'm an old man.
But Mark's a Country Walk resident. He lives in Country Walk. I've known him for almost, probably I've known you, Mark, probably for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But we've lived in Country Walk since 2005. And I think you moved there when they first built it, didn't you?
Yeah, we moved there in 1990. It wasn't when it was first built, but close, like 98, I think we moved in.
And if you were telling me that when you first got married, you lived in this neighborhood here by the studio.
Yeah, just a couple blocks down the street. We had our first house built there. I have to laugh because it was $69,900, brand new.
Wow.
Yeah, for a 3-bedroom tri-level. There you go.
What was the someone was saying recently? I saw it online. It says, "Hey, I wanna buy a house for $69,000. And what do I need to do?" It says, "First thing, get a time machine." Yeah, and so you've done well. So actually, the market's been well for you. You bought pretty well every time.
Yeah, we've been lucky.
But enough about real estate. I want to talk a little bit about what you do, Mark, because it fascinates me. I've seen your online stuff. I've seen your videos for a long time. One day I'm going to ask you about that hammer system because that looks pretty darn cool. But tell us what is a guro and what do you do? And let's start there.
Well, a guru just means teacher in Filipino. People call me Sifu, which is Chinese teacher. Sensei, it's all just means teacher.
Oh, sensei is the same thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it's all just different languages. The same thing. Yeah, it just means teacher. You'll never hear me call myself a master. I will never call myself a master. I'm still learning. Martial arts is a lifelong journey, and it never ends. And that's really what keeps me going throughout this whole thing.
When did you start? So you've got I believe you have a studio in Libertyville, right?
Yes.
What's it called?
North Shore Academy of Martial Arts.
And is it a specific concentration or discipline, or do you have multiple disciplines there?
My school has multiple disciplines. The main art that we teach is called Jeet Kune Do, or the Way of the Intercepting Fist, and it was invented by Bruce Lee.
Oh,
fun!
My instructor, Guru Dan Asano, was Bruce Lee's top student and best friend. So all the information I get is straight from the source. So like in my school, we'll teach what Bruce Lee taught from 64 to 72, and then it expands. Like Guru Dan, Bruce Lee didn't want it to just be one set thing. It was supposed to keep evolving with the time. And that's what Guro Asano did. As the time went on, we added Thai boxing. We put Filipino martial arts. We've done Indonesian silat. Brazilian jiu-jitsu is now a part of it. So we evolve with the times, and that's what I really love about this system.
So your typical student, is it young people, old people, middle-aged?
I start them at 3 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and my oldest student is 77.
Really?
Wow.
Cool.
Yep. You're never too old. And that's the beauty of this art. It tailors to you. You don't tailor to the art, meaning this. If you go, let's say, to Taekwondo, it's a kicking art. You have to be flexible, and you have to be able to kick. Well, as you get older, your flexibility decreases, and kicking is a high-maintenance art, meaning if you don't really keep up on it, you lose it fast. Where here, you come into my school and say, oh, I have a bad back, or I have a bad knee. We have many different ways for you to do the same techniques with your limitations and not conforming to what we do. Does that make sense?
Well, it
Yeah,
makes complete
absolutely.
sense. It's like anytime I go to do something, like especially after not being worked out in a while, I'm like, bend down and touch your toes. Well, how about my knees?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I've had kids in walkers. We have kids with CP. I have
Wow.
even adults with autism. I have an adult in the kickboxing who has Down syndrome. So I love helping everyone, but these people really touch my heart. When the one kid in the walker, he could only use one hand, and we came up with a whole system for him. And when he got his black belt, every person in the entire place was crying.
I believe it.
Even us. It was just unbelievable. And that's what martial arts is about. It's not about hurting people and beating people up and being the toughest guy in the room. No, it's about being the best person in the room, having integrity, having self-esteem, helping people, teaching people. That's what martial arts is, at least to me.
That's beautiful. That makes a lot of sense too. So I've mentioned it several times in the past. I have an autistic daughter, and the idea of getting her on a team sport just seems like a joke at this exact moment. That's just not something she would be super interested in doing. And I've had in the different autism parenting spheres that I'm in, I've seen a lot of suggestions of doing something like martial arts, karate, taekwondo, because it's individual sport that teaches your self-discipline.
Exactly.
And I could totally see that being really meaningful to people in that community.
That's what's great about martial arts. Team sports, football, baseball, soccer, usually the best kids play and the other kids are on the bench. In martial arts, you're not competing against anyone but yourself. We never compare Joey to Johnny. If we know Joey is doing the absolute best he can, but he might not be as good as Johnny, Joey still moves on because we know he is doing his best.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What do you think when people who come to your studio and train, are they there to learn how to better defend themselves, to be better people, to be in better health? Are they doing it for exercise? What do you think the majority of people coming in are doing it for?
The majority of adults come in for health and to lose weight and to get in shape. And the self-defense part is just icing on the cake, if you will. Kids, parents bring them in all the time. We're very big into character development. That's the main thing for our youth program. Hard work, good grades, being a good person. We do job lists that they have to do once a month. I made my bed, I cleaned my room, I brushed my teeth, I said I love you. Things like that. We work really close. They bring in the report cards and we give stars for A's and B's and things like that.
That's
and,
so cool.
If a child's, it's funny. A martial artist wears many hats. I'm a doctor, I'm a therapist, I'm a teacher, I'm a psychologist, and I have no training in any of those.
Cool. So you're ready to be a real estate agent.
Yeah, you'd be a great realtor.
Yeah, But they, parents bring their kids to us all the time with troubles, and we do our best to talk to the child. If in extreme cases, we'll take their belt away, and that's devastating to a kid, and that we make them earn it back.
Yeah.
And the parents have to be in, telling us how the child's doing and stuff like that. We might just take a stripe, or we might just talk to them and say, hey, this is your warning. But the kids, it's funny, they won't listen to their parents, but when we speak, it's like, oh my God, Sensei Mark, Sensei Alex, Sensei Jeff said this, so I'm glad we can help like that.
Did your kids get involved into martial arts growing up?
Yes. Brandon got his black belt. Lexi made it to like green belt, I think, and then she started getting girly, and I think she wanted to do something, and one of the instructors wouldn't let her, so she stopped and whatever. But I still made her do stuff at home, like before she could date, she had to slap me around a little bit, and things like that. So,
what is Lexi doing now? I haven't seen her in a while.
Oh, Lexi, she's working at the Lake County Coroner's Office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
cool.
They're all listening right now, so shout out to them and Lexi.
The coroner's office. What is she doing there?
She's answering the phones and helping people and assisting wherever she's needed.
Is she doing anything with pathology at all?
I'm not sure. I think she assists sometimes.
That's awesome.
Neat.
So I always thought that, just so you know, my family, so my father's mother's family, they were all in the mortuary business. And I could never see that. How does someone, young woman, grow up in suburbia and then decide I want to work with bodies?
I have no idea.
There was actually a big push for that on social media a couple years ago. I would see stuff like
really,
yeah.
Oh, wow,
there was
that's fascinating.
Yeah, there was stuff all over, specifically TikTok, and I would sometimes see it trickle into Facebook as well. But there were a lot of videos of people who worked in that field that were like, "Listen, there is a huge gap of young women working in this field. There are all these scholarship programs. There's a lot of opportunity here for you to be able to get in and get a lot of the schooling paid for. Please come join our field." And a lot of young women did end up responding to that.
Yeah.
It was a really successful campaign.
I give them a ton of credit because I don't have the stomach for it. I can't.
Sure.
It's like my wife once showed me her. She stubbed her toe. I couldn't look at it. I said,
Oh,
wrap
no.
it before you show that to me.
Wow.
So I give her a lot of credit.
Me
I mean,
too.
what a huge, and what a great career path too. So
Yep.
and nice working for the government. That's a great bit. That's a great gig. Okay, let's go back to your Mark. There's someone I like. His name is Jordan Peterson. He's a psychoanalyst. He's Canadian, and he talks a lot about kind of biology and the structure of our genes and from where they come from. And one of the things that he says is that we should be capable of being dangerous. Not act on it, but be capable of being dangerous. So my question for you, because you believe in self-defense as an art form, what do you think about that? Should we be capable of danger in order to protect ourselves, or is there something else at play?
Can we actually define danger real quick? What would you characterize as danger or dangerous, and then go into what you think about that?
I think the way Jordan Peterson stakes it is you have the potential to harm,
Okay.
but choose not to.
Okay.
So it's kind of like King Solomon. I can do this, but I won't.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let's go back to caveman days when we were the providers and, we had to provide for the families and things like that. We have two parts of our brain. We have a reptilian brain and we have our logical brain.
So Sly's the reptile, and
Yeah.
Just
So
kidding.
your reptilian brain
Picking on me today.
yeah, controls all the
No one else
things that you do automatically. Your heart beating, your breathing, your blinking, your reflexes, your flinch, your fight, flight, or freeze. That's all reptilian. So,
oh, interesting.
and then your logical brain looks at what the reptilian brain says and thinks about it and says, okay, is this logical? Is this really a threat, or is this not a threat? And that's where your brain assesses all this in like nanoseconds. It's unbelievable. So when it comes to should you be dangerous, I think we should all have some sort of self-defense skill. It doesn't mean you have to be a black belt. It doesn't mean you have to take years of self-defense or classes. It just means that you're aware, you see what's going on, and God forbid, I talk about I don't like to fight, and I will try to get out of it at any cost. You are not a coward. Every guy, oh, I'm going to look bad in front of my peers. You're not going to look bad. You actually look like a bigger person.
100%.
So let's start with that right there. But let's say I'm with my wife and my kids and something goes on and I can't just run away. I have to do something to protect my family. So you need, I believe, to have some sort of skill in that moment. Everyone is a VIP. VIPs hire bodyguards to protect them. Well, we are VIPs to somebody. You're a VIP to your mother, your father, your wife, your husband, your kids, your dog. Someone is expecting you to come home tonight, and that's your goal. You are coming home tonight no matter what. And that kind of has to be your mindset. And if you think about that, and, there's codes we talk about, white, yellow, orange, red. Code white is you're oblivious to what's going on around you. And I'll give you a good example of that. You get in your car and you talk on your phone, and before you know it, you're at your destination, and you didn't even realize, oh, I'm here already.
Yeah.
That's code white. You do not want to be in code white. That's what victims or predators look for in victims. You want to be in code yellow. Yellow just means I'm alert, my head's up, I'm looking around, I see what's going on, and I go about my day. And that's really how you want to live your life. You don't have to be paranoid and worried. I don't go to the city. I don't go to places where I think bad things can happen. I just purposely avoid it. And I don't hang out with people who like violence. If you hang out with someone who just likes getting into fights on the weekends and this and that, get new friends, because that's not what you want.
That's great advice. And as you probably are aware, in real estate, women in real estate have a very challenging issue. They're expected to go meet strangers at houses, show them alone without people in. Yeah. And I've always, for that reason, I've always been somewhat an advocate for women realtors to carry, concealed carry, because I even saw Bill Maher talk about how he thinks his opinion on guns have changed because they're the leverager. They give someone who doesn't have the physical strength the leverage. But what you teach, Mark, and what you do also provides leverage.
I actually have taught a bunch of realtor self-defense classes. And that's my big thing. As a woman, you have to show people this house. You set up an appointment with a couple and you're waiting and the guy shows up by himself and says, oh, my wife couldn't make it today. I'll send her pictures. Let's go in. And really, you have to do it. I mean, I tell them right then and there to call someone and let them know what's going on, maybe try to get another realtor to come by, or at least call someone and say, hey, this guy, I'm going in a house by myself. Then what I also tell them is let them lead the way. Let's say you're going to show them the master bedroom. Well, I don't walk in first and then they come in behind me so they can shut the door. You lead them in first, and you always kind of hang out by the door. So in case you have to make a speedy exit, you can. When you get to the house, before you show, look around and find out where the doors are and things like that. Maybe unlock it just so you have the opportunity if you have to dash out the back or whatever, and look around what you could use as an improvised weapon. Because you can use anything as a weapon. And here's my number one self-defense tip. Always go for the eyes. Always the eyes. Person can't see. They can't fight. You get a speck of dust in your eye. You can't see. Your eyes watering. That was Bruce Lee's number one technique, an eye jab. It's illegal in UFC and everywhere because it's very lethal. So, someone can grab you. You can have your eyes closed. You'll always know where someone's eyes are. Every human has two eyes, and they're all in the same place. So stick your finger in. I don't want to, get graphic or anything, but trust me, poke them in the eye and run. Kicking them in the groin doesn't always work. Guys know how to defend their private areas, and I'm not just going to stand with my legs spread saying, "Hey, lady, kick me in the nuts." So so I do teach a lot of that, and I think they have a challenging position sometimes. And as far as carrying, I mean, I have my conceal too, but I don't know if I'd have them. I like little things like it sounds cliche, but pepper spray. And bear spray is even better than pepper spray. But you can keep it handy. You don't keep it at the bottom of your purse, so you have to dig for it and stuff like that. They have little clips. But believe it or not, it works.
Yeah.
A pen or a pencil, you can just stab someone with it. A hairbrush, pick up a bottle of water and start beating them with it. Trust me, all these little things help. And that's what you want to do. And, I talk about pepper spray a lot, but one word of advice, if it's windy, don't spray it at someone. What I actually teach, and you in realtors too, I teach you to conceal it in your hand and spray it in your hand and then touch their face. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
That's all you, and don't touch yourself afterwards. But just spray it in your hand. They don't see it, and just wipe their face with it and run. Works every time.
We've got some listener comments. So first we have Maria Halleck, who wanted to remind us as well that Lexi is also a licensed funeral director and embalmer. It was important that get added to the conversation. Thank you.
Hey, is your relative?
But also we have Chi-Town Shirley, who commented, you should be assessing your surroundings every 4 to 10 seconds. Always know your exits in any environment. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Like when I teach people, let's say you're walking out of Walmart. When you walk out of the store, take 3 or 4 seconds to look around. When you pulled in the store, you parked next to a Nissan Sentra, and now when you walk out, there's a white panel van running next to your car with 2 guys sitting in it.
Yep.
You might think twice about just going to your car. Another thing I teach, let's say you think you're being followed out of the store, and as you're walking to your car, someone's behind you. What you do is you turn around, look at them, and say, darn, I left my wallet in the store, and walk right back into the store. That's how now you've identified them, you've seen them, and you told them you have no money. I teach guys in bars, hey, what are you looking at? Well, if you say nothing, that starts a fight. And if you say you, that starts a fight. But if you say, hey, aren't you Stephen Edwards from Maine East High School? What? No. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were him. My mistake.
That's super disarming.
And walk
Absolutely.
away. That's how you want to think about self-defense. It's like verbal judo. You can talk your way. If someone is talking, they can be persuaded to walk. So you have to practice it, though. It's very uncomfortable for people in the school to start. Stop. Stay back. Especially women, they don't like to be assertive. And a lot of times I have to bring it out of them. They have to swear. You can't be afraid to swear and get in someone's face.
Get loud, get attention.
Yeah. I have a friend, if you swear at her, she crumbles like a rock. And it's terrible, and you have to get over that. And that's what I try to get into them, to be, like a mother tiger or a mother bear.
Do you find that's different with mothers? Because I will say I noticed, I used to definitely be the flight side of fight or flight before having children. And I found out in the moment, actually, that it turns out once you have kids, fight comes up in you, whether you wanted to or not. I was on a walk with my daughter, and I had headphones in, only on one side. I wanted to be aware of my surroundings. And just in the corner of my eye, I saw a car very slowly pull up as if it was stopping to talk to me. And instead of trying to put my head down and walk the other way, I had pushed my stroller out of the way and then turned and balled my fist towards the car. It turned out it was just my stepdad trying to say hi. But I looked down at my fist. I'm like, what was I going to do with these fists? Like, who is this? I had no idea that my instinct would be, get the baby out of the way, I'll fight you. And I don't know how to fight. I've never been in a fight in my life, so that was very surprising for me. So do you find that that's different with mothers?
That's really awesome you brought that up. Instinct. If you go back to go study every person who's been attacked through the years and read the reports, you'll find one thing throughout them all. I had a bad feeling and I didn't act on it. I never thought it would happen to me. Your instincts are correct. Women's instinct. There's nothing fake about that. When your instinct goes in, you follow it. Guys, when hair stands up, you look around. Your body is telling you there's danger. I was teaching a self-defense class, and I asked the crowd, who knows self-defense, and no one raised their hand. And I said, okay, you've walked into your house from the grocery store, and your daughter's tied up on the table, and some guy's about to rape her. Some lady stands up. I'd kill him. I'd rip his face off.
Yep.
And I go, wow, where'd you get your self-defense training so fast? But that's it.
Yeah.
It comes out, and you've got it in you. You just need to know how to channel it.
Yeah.
Mark, a lot of times this is a great conversation, and a lot of times we wind up enjoying these so long, we wind up going long, and I want to make sure I have an opportunity. If someone wanted to, talk to you, learn more about your program, maybe attend your studio, first of all, give us the name again of the studio, and then tell us where it's located.
My school is North Shore Academy of Martial Arts. I'm at 281 Peterson Road. If you know where Austin's is, I'm just east of Austin's in the Gold Eagle liquor store mall there.
Oh, okay.
And I've been there 27 years.
Is that the same strip mall where the GOP headquarters was?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. Yep. I remember that.
Okay. Yeah. That was a few years ago they moved, but yeah. Okay. Oh, that's cool. And then what about website and phone number?
My website is www.nsama.com, and our phone number is 847-573-1672. And if I'm allowed to say this, if any callers or you call in, you can have a free week, no obligation.
Can't,
sorry.
Nope. Sorry. FCC will cut us down on that one.
Sorry.
Can't
Okay.
mention the FRW word.
Just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, nothing.
Yeah, sorry about
nothing
that.
given away. Sorry.
We'll charge you double.
Yeah. But,
Yes.
but I do want to circle back because I think you missed a dot on the website. Just repeat that for me again because I don't think it came through.
www.nsama.com.
Okay, great. And just because the N and the M's sound similar on the radio, North Shore Academy of Martial Arts, NSAMA.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I want to go back to the conversation now. I just don't want to lose the opportunity for you to plug that information for anyone who wants to get a hold of you. So, do you offer like female-only classes?
Yes, we do. We have a Krav Maga class, and we try to keep it for women only. And the instructor is a retired Navy, Jeff, and he is great. And we teach the women to be empowered, a lot of hitting things, so, you can know what it feels like to hit things and, go from your natural nonviolent posture into a violent posture. We work on flinch response. Everyone has a flinch response. Your flinch response is ambidextrous, and your flinch response will beat any action. Look at car accident people. Even before the airbag goes off, they have wounds on their forearms and stuff because their arms came up. So we use that as a self-defense tool, because everyone has it, and it's automatic. You don't have to train it. Someone throws something at your face, your hands automatically come up. So that's what we base our system on, and that's what we teach the women. It's really easy, and you can learn it really fast.
And this isn't something that people need to already be physically fit to participate in.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
So you said something there that is going to draw me back to the question I asked you. You said the violent pose, and I think that's what Jordan Peterson is talking about, is to have that presence of the capability of danger, and by possessing that, you're warding off most of your problems.
Right. Your nonviolent posture is really your violent posture. It's just hidden. Having your arms crossed and one hand on your chin is actually a posture where I'm defending myself, but I'm ready to go at a minute's notice. My hand's out in front. We call that the fence. You have a fence around your house. You have a fence around your body, and you don't let anyone inside that fence. And we kind of teach a two two-touch rule, where if someone walks into you and you have your hands out and you touch them and you say stay back and you take one step back, and if they come again, you just go and hit them, and that's it. And then we teach you elbows, knees, eye pokes, biting,
Knees and toes.
pinching, yep, anything. There's no such thing as dirty fighting.
So that brings me to something I'm very interested in. I've seen your hammer system, your hammer defense system, and I'm thinking that's what that's about, right?
Yeah. My thing on that was not everyone has a gun, not everyone has martial art weapons, but every house has a hammer. And to use that in self-defense you don't need any training. Everyone knows how to swing a hammer.
Yeah.
And you hit someone with a hammer one time, I don't care where it is, on their hand, their foot, their head.
Yeah.
They won't be doing anything again. And it's sometimes in the news in the last year, you've heard a few people attacked with hammers. And I'm like, wow, And
they're watching your video.
Yeah, I have 4 videos on how to do it. But in my videos, it's all on you being attacked with a knife. Because let's make a legal claimer right now. Hitting someone with a hammer is illegal, and you will go to jail. It's only life or death.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. People, I like bar fighting or whatever. You get into a bar fight over a drink, or someone spilled something on you, and you punch them in the face. They fall, hit their head on the end of the bar. They die, and now you're in prison for 30, 40 years. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's funny. When I was back in the summer of 2020, when the riots were happening in Kenosha, we were going up there. Me, my friend Chris Schoenberger, who's the owner of Barbecue Productions and Station 51, and then another friend, Ed Lieberman. We were going up there every day during the day, and we were cleaning up the streets. We were boarding up houses, boarding up churches. And then leaving, by dark. Dark's when all the excitement was happening. And this was before the Rittenhouse situation. And I was asked by several people, are you carrying because you shouldn't be there? It's dangerous. My answer was, and a lot of my Second Amendment supporting friends disagree with me on this, but I said, no, I'm not going to carry, because no matter what happens, if I have to use it, I'm done. And sure enough, later that same night, you saw what happened to Kyle. And whether you think he was good, bad, I don't care. That's not what this conversation is about. He used his weapon, and then the next 18 months of his life was changed. His life was changed forever. I thought it'd be best. I was there to do good. I didn't need to, in my opinion, didn't need to defend myself at that point. I was trying to be safe about when and where we were, and I was trying to use avoidance tactics to keep myself safe instead of having that gun.
That's totally smart. And I'll be honest with you. Again, I have my concealed carry too, and I barely carry, because the second you pull that thing out, you now have 2 fights, the person in front of you and the law. And the law isn't always forgiving to, I was using it for self-defense. That's one thing I also teach people. If someone wants to fight you and says, let's go outside, you never go outside. You stay in a crowded place inside the bar, and you keep saying, I don't want any trouble. I don't want to fight. I don't want any trouble. Because when you finally have to and something happens, you have all these witnesses who kept saying he said he didn't want to fight. He said he didn't want trouble.
Good advice.
And that's what you want to do. And, I also carry a knife. The Filipino martial arts is very blade oriented, and we're very good with knives. And I teach a lot of knife self-defense. I've taught the police academy a couple times, knife defense, because it's not like you see in the movies. Knife defense, basically someone comes up to you and says, hey, can you tell me where so-and-so, where this place is? And then they just shank you and stab you. And, you have to be ready for stuff. And that, again, is awareness. And even that, I'd be afraid to pull that out. But at least, I don't know. To me, it's not as lethal as a gun, but it's still lethal.
So we talked a little bit earlier about instinct, and it's kind of bringing me to this sort of like mindset that I'm having really for the first time. So bear with me. So you don't have to be an expert in self-defense in order to defend yourself. That's what I'm hearing, correct?
Yep.
So I'm going to take you on a small journey with me for just a second. A couple months ago, I was sitting on the floor in my house folding some laundry, and my daughter was sitting near me within like 2 feet, playing with some stuff. All of a sudden, she looks at me and her face is blue. Okay? Her face is blue, her eyes are bulging, and immediately I had maybe able to pick up on the fact that, oh my God, I must have had some loose change in one of these pockets of the clothes that I was folding. She's got a quarter in her throat. And maybe 10 years before that, I was taking some massage therapy classes, and because of that, we had to do CPR. I had not practiced it. I had not needed to use it ever. My license had all but expired for sure by then. But in that moment, because I had that little bit of training, I was able to give her CPR. I was able to get that quarter out of her throat. And I had never seen a person like truly full-blown, I can't breathe choking before. It was the scariest moment of my parenting life to date. But because of the fact that I had just that little bit of training years ago buried somewhere in the back of my brain, I was able to save my child's life. And I feel like this is probably a really similar mindset of it's always going to be worth it to take, because even if you're not going to be forever practicing martial arts, that instinct is still going to be embedded. Is that close to something you might say?
Yes. You know, every time you do something, a neuron trail in your brain forms. And the more times you do it, the deeper that trail comes. That's why, like they say, doing something 10,000 times, you're a master of it. Self-defense and what you did, to me, it's like riding a bike. You don't forget how to ride a bike. And it's always there. It's always hidden somewhere down. If you've done it a few months, it's in there. You'll remember certain parts of it. And I laugh at people, oh, I always have my gun. I always have this. I say, well, do you have it in the shower? do you have it when you sleep? Do you know what I mean? Do you have it? No, you don't. But my martial arts is with me 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, no matter what.
I'm going to start showering with my hammer.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm going to get some carpenter pants on the way home and just walk around with the hammer from here on out.
Oh my God, your wives are going to think you're crazy.
It's funny. I go to the store like Harbor Freight and I look at the different hammers and go, oh, this one's cool.
Yeah. Mark, I can't thank you enough. Thanks for sticking around. I know we promised you'd be out by 1:30. We went a little bit long, but we're liars.
That's okay.
We're talkers.
Good stuff.
I had a great time. Thank you for having me.
And what I do want to do is start encouraging some of the women agents in at least our office to start thinking about self-defense and ways to avoid these issues. Like, we already have tools where we've got the ability to do quick background checks on people through our association, and we've got buddy systems set up, and then we have technology where when a woman shows a house, if you don't press this button in 4 minutes, we're going to call your husband or call your broker or stuff. So those are out, but those are only great to find your body, right? They don't help.
Protect you.
They don't protect you in the moment.
Can I say one last thing about that? When seconds count, the police are minutes away. Yeah. And that's not their fault at all.
Not at all.
So, calling 911 is fine and great, but if you only have seconds where you need to be able to do something. And that, to me, is the bottom line.
That gave me goosebumps.
Yeah. I mean, you need to be able to do something because, we can't have every police officer for every person. They have their own jobs and they can't always be everywhere at the time you need them. So to me, it's very important that at least you have some basic knowledge and skill to be able to at least, get out of danger.
Great. Thanks again, Mark. Really appreciate you being here. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Yes.
And we will be right back.
Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr will return in just a few moments after these important messages. Don't touch that dial.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder and Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder and Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder and Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinka team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinka team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County.
Unlocking Lake County.
With Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Dick Barr Group at Village Realty, offering both residential and commercial real estate services across northeastern Illinois. Find us at our office located at 1915 East Grand Avenue in Lindenhurst, or visit us online at www.dickbarr.com. For a personal real estate experience, they can also be reached at 847-579-9736. At the Dick Barr Group, your property goals are their mission.
This is Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Your favorite show right here on 98.3 FM.
98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder and Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder and Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder and Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder and Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder and Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder and Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinka team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinka team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County
Welcome back, Lake County. This is your host, Dick Barr, with Unlocking Lake County, back with Kristen Kaufman.
Hello, hello.
And Sly Marinka.
Hello, everybody.
Wow, what a great show.
Yeah.
For those of you who just tuned in, we had Marc Halleck of the North Shore Academy of Martial Arts in Libertyville here, and giving us some great information about his studio and what they do, how they teach. I thought it was all about, hey, get tough and be able to beat people up in a bar. But Mark's whole point was, no, get tough and ward off the danger. Yeah, don't get involved in danger, because that's when the real danger starts. Some great points, and especially as it relates to our office has got, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women realtors in our office. Yeah. Right? And Jesus.
It's a woman-dominated industry, isn't it?
It is 60%.
Yeah.
60% of a real estate bro. And we've had some tragedies. Not locally.
No.
Nationally, there's been some really bad situations.
Yeah.
Go out, get educated, get strong, and learn how to defend yourself or ward off potential attacks. So anyway, our spotlight today was going to be about property taxes. And we decided to talk about kind of final walkthroughs and kind of broom swept condition stuff. But I want to talk about property taxes because a lot of people, when their tax bill comes out, they get mad and like, oh, we're gonna challenge this, we're gonna fight this. But you can't. You can't fight your tax bill. You can only fight your tax assessment. And tax assessment notices start coming out next month in August. And so all the tax assessors throughout all the townships are going to start evaluating the value of your homes. And keep in mind, our homes have been appreciating very rapidly. We're going up about anywhere between 8 and 20% a year in some cases over the past 3, maybe 4 years. And because of that, the way the law works is your assessed value is based on a 3-year trailing average of your home's value. So the last tax bill came out was going back 3 years, averaging out. So each year for the next at least 3 years, because there's been 3 more years of significant increases, your property assessments are going to increase. So the time to debate them or appeal them is coming up. So when those blue cards come out from the tax assessor, you're going to get it in the mail. It's a blue piece of paper. It's going to say what your home's worth according to the assessor. You've got, I believe, 21 days after that assessment comes out to file an appeal, and you can do that online on the Lake County website. If you could just Google Lake County, Illinois property tax appeal, you could easily find it and get that information. There are some attorneys who can help you file those appeals, and soon we'll have one of those attorneys in our studio who's going to talk about that, and probably have him in towards the end of August because that's going to be the prime time for everyone to make those appeals. But you can also do it on your own. You don't need an attorney to file these appeals for you. The process is relatively simple. Sly was telling us about some situations with what was it? New construction over by you. You guys got beat up. What happened over there?
Yeah, so, there was D.R. Horton was in there building homes for a while. Then Ryan Holmes came in and built a bunch of new homes. And we're learning that they were not exactly accurate in telling new home buyers what their taxes potentially would be. We have a lot of neighbors, that we're friendly with and that we talk with in our neighborhood that built homes, and most of them were told somewhere between $10,000 and $12,000 to expect, so about $1,000 a month on the high end to expect for their their monthly tax bill, annual $12,000 a year tax bill, and they are nearly double that. In many cases. So we have a lot of people that were just kind of misled by...
Is there any accountability for that?
They don't have anything in writing. It was just, hey, this is what we think the taxes are going to be. And the builder very well may have thought that. I'm not accusing them of doing it maliciously, but, now a couple years later, and it may have started that way the first year or the second year, but now a couple years later, when you're getting a $18,000, $20,000 tax bill, that's a big difference.
Huge difference.
And so this is important for our listeners to know. So taxes in Illinois are anything but simple, but they're a formula. So you should not rely on what anyone tells you your taxes will be. Work on the formula. Formula is, get your graphing calculator out. It's basically your market value divided by 3 minus any exemptions you have. So like if you have a homeowner's exemption or a senior exemption or a disabled veterans exemption. So if you have a $300,000 house, it's worth on the market $300,000. Figure divide that by 3, that's $100,000. Now subtract your homeowner's exemption, that's $8,000. So now you're down to $92,000. And then if you have a senior exemption, that's another $6,000. Drop that down, you're at 80. Sorry,
6.
Thank you. 87, right? 5. Oh, 6. Right, so 6,000. Right? It used to be 5,000. Right? So it's 86,000, and then you times that number by whatever the tax rate is on your tax bill, and that's going to give you the best possible indication of what your taxes will be. Around here, you're going to see, anywhere from 8 to 14% of assessed value, adjusted assessed value. And so, if your number is 86,000 at 10% tax rate, that's $8,600. So never rely on what someone tells you, because they can't possibly know. Yeah. Even the treasurer and the assessors would tell you, we don't know what your tax bill will be. We only can tell you what your value is, because then they divide all of the government expenses divided by all of the equalized assessed values, and that's how they come out to their rate. And that's the only time you could possibly know what your tax bill will be.
And on our end, we regularly, so like there's a period where you can't pull a tax bill when the new tax bills are being put into because normally we could just go on the Lake County website and look at what the tax rate is, but there is a period where it times out every year. You can call them. You could call the Lake County Treasurer's office. They'll put you through to somebody, and you could ask them, hey, this is the property I'm interested in buying in. We can't find the rate. What are the taxes on it? And they usually will be able to look that up and tell you. They're very friendly.
Hey, Sly, give us a quick phone number if someone wants to get a hold of you.
847-722-1775. My website is ccmsly.com, and my email is sly@ccm.com.
And Kristen?
My phone number is 847-977-6751. Call or text. And then the best email to reach me at for work purposes would be ckaufman, KAUFMAN, @dickbarr.com.
I'm Dick Barr, your host of Unlocking Lake County. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the heart of our community, exploring the ins and outs of real estate and meeting the people who make Lake County truly remarkable. Remember, every property has a story, and every community member holds a key to unlocking our county's full potential. Don't miss out on discovering more hidden gems and expert insights. Make sure to tune in every Wednesday at 12 noon for another episode of Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr. Until then, keep exploring, keep dreaming, and keep unlocking the possibilities that await you in Lake County. Thank you for listening, and see you next week.